The 1960s, when science meant danger and parenting meant taking your kid to a lost temple filled with killer robots. Enter Jonny Quest, Hanna-Barbera's wild attempt to prove cartoons didn't need punchlines, just explosions, espionage, and the occasional mummified monster. This was more than your average Saturday morning silliness. Jonny Quest was action packed, beautifully drawn, and took itself way too seriously, which is exactly why it ruled. Before Jonny Quest, Hanna-Barbera made its fortune off of sitcoms with fur and fins. But in 1964, they got ambitious. What if, they asked, we made a show that looks like James Bond but stars a 12-year-old? Doug Wildey, the show's creator, blended pulp adventure comics, Cold War paranoia, and sleek modern design into something entirely new. Hanna-Barbera, in their infinite optimism, agreed, somehow forgetting this kind of animation costs money. Real money. The result? A show that looked like a motion comic and moved like an action serial with just enough budget left over for 2 explosions per episode. And villains getting murked. Yes, there were actual casualties. There's Johnny, the daredevil kid who should really be in therapy. Dr. Benton Quest, the brilliant scientist dad who keeps dragging his son into top-secret death zones. Race Bannon, bodyguard, pilot, and peak square-jawed masculinity. Haji, the resourceful best friend with mystical talents and a bottomless tolerance for Johnny's chaos. And Bandit, the dog who technically counts as comic relief, though he's often the only one who looks terrified enough for the situation. They globe-trotted from jungles to undersea bases, fighting everything from invisible monsters to mad scientists. It was like Indiana Jones if Indy had a kid in zero regard for child safety laws. But let's keep it a buck. This show was effing dangerous. People got shot. Creatures actually died, and there were explosions that would make Michael Bay nod in approval. White curtains jazzed and fused score added to the high-stakes atmosphere, horns blaring like a Bond theme, drums rolling like a military operation. Every frame oozed pulp coolness, angular lines, bold colors, and that stylish modern danger aesthetic only the 60s could pull off. Kids tuned in for adventure and probably stayed for the existential dread. And then, just like one of Dr. Quest's experiments, it all blew up. Jonny Quest was a visual masterpiece, but it was expensive. Hanna-Barbera's limited animation factory just couldn't keep up with Wildey's cinematic ambitions. After one glorious season and only 26 episodes, Jonny Quest was gone. Canceled, grounded, packed up in the vault next to dreams of a second season and Race Bannon's hair gel budget. But here's the twist. Jonny Quest didn't die. It became a legend. For decades later, Jonny Quest was the forbidden fruit of classic animation, a show that proved kids could handle mature adventure, not just pratfalls and laugh tracks. Its DNA spread far and wide, influencing generations of storytellers who grew up dreaming of jetpacks and danger. The creative minds behind G.I.Joe, a real American hero, have openly cited Jonny Quest as a major inspiration, from its team dynamics to its tech-heavy missions, the jet fuel heroics, globe-hopping plots, and militarized adventure tone. That's pure Quest energy with a Hasbro paint job. And even in The Venture Bros, which turned the Quest mythos into a brilliant parody of failed pulp legacy. So what makes Jonny Quest endure? It wasn't perfect, it was dated, pricey, and occasionally politically incorrect. But it treated its audience like they could handle big ideas, scary monsters, and genuine stakes. Hanna-Barbera's bold experiment didn't just create a show, instead it created a template. A blueprint for animated adventure that inspired everyone from toy makers to auteurs. So, the next time you hear that triumphant jazz theme and see a rocket take off into a painted sky, remember it all began with one fearless kid, a brilliant scientist, and a bodyguard who made hackies look dangerous. This was Jonny Quest, and this is Pulp Vision. Please give a like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching as always.